Well, the mighty Rangers are on the up, man. I mean, what a performance to kick off our Europa League escapades.
Aye, well, the first goal, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be one of the fastest goals in that competition, but
Certainly one of the fastest I can remember us scoring anyway. So normally it's like nail biting and honestly quite boring when Rangers are away for home in Europe because it's always a bit cagey and
well,
nervy.
the thing is, we give Dessers a lot of stick, but I'll tell you something, what a fucking assist for that first goal for Dessers, man. It was impeccable.
That's like something you do in five-a-side. You hit it off the wall, back for your part, like one of your teammates to knock it in, and obviously he's aimed for the post there to knock it back.
To be generous
out
enough,
of this world,
to be
man.
generous enough to give that assist to Bizarrami for his first goal was, I mean,
just look, he's trying to, we're always saying, the new guys, they need time to, adjust and gel with their teammates now. There's nothing makes you feel like you fit in at a Rangers team with one of your teammates seeing the open goal there and honestly just choosing to hit it off the post, knock it back to you for a tap in. Different class for that's what he's all about.
Aye, exactly.
That is why we signed him.
100%. I don't know why we gave him so much. Honestly, I don't know why we gave him so much stick. No, I really don't. But I think all in all, like, in terms of the first half, and you can say this for the full game in general, I think we were on top. I think I was tracking the shots during the game, but I can't really remember how many.
I think we finished with, let's say, maybe 17 shots or something.
Aye, something like that, but we were well on top. And to be honest, like, in terms of the game in general, I think we could have easily won about 5-0 there.
I was really worried coming into the start of the second half where they did, sort of. They looked improved for the first maybe 15-20 minutes of the second half, and I was saying to you during the game, I really hope we don't regret all these chances that we've squandered in the first half, because honestly the game could have been dead and buried in the first half. It could have been 3 or 4 at least, but obviously that's not what ended up happening. But it was our chance creation, and I noticed as well, one of the stats at the end of the game was we had probably about 150 to 200 less passes than Malmo. But it was, how many times have we said with Rangers in the past, like, we keep possession for possession's sake, we're too slow in our build up, we're passing it about our defenders basically, from right to left back, or maybe centre backs and goalkeepers. But a lot of it the night was we want to go forward quickly, and I think that's always been Clement's plan for come in the door. That's what we were told he was going to do. At times it's more direct, but that's the sort of Rangers I want to see playing. And up top they all looked hungry, and they look as if they are gelling and getting better at playing alongside each other. So it's
talking about up top.
Good news.
We were missing one in the bench, Shigmani, who apparently, now I don't know what the situation is or how this happened, but he didn't fly basically because of some sort of issue with his passport. And I don't know if that's that. All I do know is that for Moroccans they need a visa to go to Sweden. You need to apply for that 30 days or get that sorted 30 days before you even go out. So I don't know whether it's a case of at Rangers that just wasn't done in time, or if it was a completely separate issue. For all we know, if I got his passport, but it's highly unlikely considering you'd probably need to come into the training centre, get picked up, and the first time the day go, where's your passport? But that was just bizarre.
Let's be honest, you're no forgetting your passport for your Europa League debut. Surely no.
No chance.
So I think it's clearly been a bit of a administration catastrophe, which I mean, coming for Rangers doesn't surprise me, the amount of fucking scandalous shit that's happened to kick off this year. But
I mean, considering that, like, the thing is, Igmani being there could have probably he could have got some solid minutes in, because the bench was pretty bare in terms of there was a lot of youngsters. Aye, there was a lot of youngsters, and to be honest, talking about youngsters, McCausland's goal was an absolutely phenomenal finish, considering not only did he gain possession by like going full pelt, hunting his cell, getting the ball, but the posting and finish, I think, was absolutely top draw for him.
Well, I mean, that is exactly what you want off your subs. Do you know what I mean? Because you know what it's like at times. Players can be, a bit frustrated with the fact they're not getting started, but at the end of the day, that's the sort of desire and dedication you want for your subs. Obviously, McCausland is still young, but the attitude that McCausland is showing through his, you know, sort of early Rangers career is that is exactly the sort of attitude and standard that we're looking for. And like you say, it's, you know, it's individually worked. He goes, he anticipates it, he uses his initiative and ultimately dispatches it brilliantly. And see, at the end of the day, if he wants to be, you know, battling for that position against Cherny, who he replaced tonight, that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to, he can't just, you know, come on in a game where we're looking, you know, reasonably comfortable.
Again, we say it again, we don't really want a player that's good in spells.
No, no, exactly.
And I think McCausland's doing well at showing, like, you can see slow, and I will say slow because there's a couple of games where he plays and he's kind of been missing. He still shows that he can prove himself starting a game, I think. But then again, he is a young lad, he's got a lot to work on, and you know, it's alright to say like, oh, he's showing signs and spells, because that's what you want for like young lads.
He's
like,
developing at the end of the day.
But
obviously was thrown in at the deep end to kickstart his Rangers career, so obviously he was starting for us last year in Europe. He's kind of fell out of favour now, but like, that's nothing to be majorly critical about. Again, he's still in a developmental period in his career, so but to show that sort of attitude coming on off the bench, and honestly, I just really like the way that McCausland applies himself at times. So the rest of the substitutes need to take note, but all in all, it was a comfortable, professional performance. I will point out one criticism before we, you know, focus.
Does it involve Tav?
Aye, well, that is, you know, kind of one of the, if only the major criticisms for tonight was he just seemed a bit off the pace again at times, you know, a bit just sleeping at times and a bit slow.
Shoulder jerseys at times.
And getting turned far too easily, which is it's honestly concerning.
You know what kind of state that situation's in with Tav when you actively see teams targeting Tav's side, that right-hand side, for the get-go. I mean, you can easily spot any sort of, you know, you say weakness is maybe a strong word for it, but the sort of game plan a team right off the bat, you can kind of pinpoint where in the team that other, you know, the opposition can see, obviously, if you get what I mean. And Tav's always been that kind of common connector between all different teams, is that right hand side. And obviously when Barisic was playing and he started to come a wee bit off the pace, you started to see his side getting targeted a lot more often. But now, you know, for any attacking side, they're going to go all guns blazing in that side. And to be honest, like, to come away from that kind of negative sidings for it, I think Proper and Shooter are starting to gel a wee bit more.
Definitely. I thought they'd, you know, both had solid performances, individual performances, and as a sort of partnership in that, as that centre back pairing. So it's really good and reassuring to see that, because obviously I think it's took Proper a wee bit to find his feet as well, but you know, tonight he looked comfortable, and I think he'll continue to get better as well. And honestly, Suter at times over the last, you know, few weeks or whatever, there's been questions raised about his game as well. But again, I thought the night he looked sharp, switched on, and both of them defended well, to be honest, for most of the game.
Now I'm going to butcher his name, but I think is it Catherine Jarrow or something like that. But he was out in the left, and I know he's usually a centre back, or he plays kind of more out in the right. Tav's position as well, but obviously he's played at left back because of the situation with Hefty being suspended, Yilmaz injured. But to be honest, I think he made a decent had a decent go at it. I think he looked pretty solid. I think he got in about it. You know what I mean? He done more right than he done wrong.
Didn't he put any major foot wrong, to be honest. No. So, and honestly, I wouldn't mind when Hefty's back to see that boy in the right back
in his
area.
right position,
But obviously it's going to be a tough ask, because obviously you've got your captain there at right
and
back.
Clement's not necessarily the type of manager that he throws youngsters in at the deep end. He barely throws new signings in at the deep end that are ready to go and have a season. That's had a season behind them, but like it would be good to see maybe coming off the bench, or at least at one point when Tav needs to be rested, because 100% think this season there's going to come a point where Tav's going to be rested.
Well, you're already seeing cracks and weaknesses in Tav already, and we're barely anywhere into the season. And for me, the worrying thing is he just seems a few yards off the pace. Do you know what I mean? Whether that's mentally, physically, or a combination of both. We always know he's not been the best defender. You know, he's not the greatest tackler in the world. But that's not really my concern with him. The new is he's still got the flaws. But now you're starting to see where he's maybe a few yards off the pace, where perhaps that wasn't his biggest weakness in the past. So it tells me that something else has gone wrong with Tav. Is it just age? Is it just comfortability in his position? Is it who knows what?
I mean, I think years gone by where Tav every single game was always a stick on for bombing it for a defensive position, and he ends up popping up in the box. You know, you see a passage you play, and then out the corner of your eye, you just see Tav pop into the box, you know, getting involved. I mean, it still happens now and again, but it feels like it needs to be a lot slower, a build-up play for that to happen, and Tav to get into the box. And let's be honest, when he gets caught out of possession at times, if you've not got somebody in there that's switched on to the fact that there's a big gap down the right-hand side, like Tav's never catching most players.
I'll tell you, probably the biggest positive for me tonight was, I mean, obviously you've got the 2-0 win, the 3 points, but really was the way we approached the game. We never went away from home in Europe and sort of
tried to suss a team out.
We'll let them do their thing, and then if they can't do that, then we'll come out and play. So the mentality, the way Clement set them up for the first kick of the ball was like, nah, we're here to, compete, to stamp our authority in this game. That's what we done, scoring within the first minute. And never really, let up for the rest of the 90. And, that's what I want to see off my team, especially. It takes a lot of bravery. There's, players in that team that's
what we played for Rangers in Europe. You know what I mean?
But, 100%. But if we can approach these big, because that is a big game, obviously. If we can approach these bigger games against these, Malmo, they're no world beaters, but ultimately you're away from home in Europe. You've got that sort of thing hanging over the top of you that you've never beat Malmo, they've beat you the last twice, beat a team in Sweden, but all that's dealt with. So a really professional performance. The approach to the game for the get-go is exactly what I want to see. I can't say it's exactly what I was expecting, because I thought it would have been a bit more edgier. I wasn't sure, sort of how positive we would have been with our approach, but for me, kind of very, very dominant display and great performance.
It says a lot that we're sitting here and making
only managed to pick out one negative.
We've got one issue with the way we played, and if that were clutch, I think we're kind of clutching at straws for the negatives, to be
definitely.
Honest. But what we want you to do is we want to let us know what your opinions were on the game. Let us know what you thought about Desser's immaculate assist. Let us know what you thought about our opinions. Remember, our socials are down in the description as well. If you want to jump over there and check them out, that would be great. Also remember to like and subscribe. Thanks to everybody that's subscribed already. It's been a massive help. We'll see you next time.